Omar Khayyam was born in the city of Nishapur, which is located in Khorasan, now the Iranian province of Khorasan Razavi. Omar was the son of a tent maker. He also had a younger sister named Aisha. At the age of 8, he began to deeply study mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. At the age of 12, Omar became a student of the Nishapur Madrasa. Later, he studied at the madrasas of Balkh, Samarkand, and Bukhara. There, he completed a course in Muslim law and medicine with honors, receiving the qualification of Hakim, that is, a doctor. But he was little interested in medical practice. He studied the works of the famous mathematician and astronomer Sabit ibn Qurra and the works of Greek mathematicians. At the age of 16, Khayyam experienced the first loss in his life. During an epidemic, his father died and then his mother. Omar sold his father's house and workshop and went to Samarkand. At that time, it was a recognized scientific and cultural center in the East. In Samarkand, Khayyam first became a student of one of the madrasas, but after several speeches at disputes, he amazed everyone with his erudition so much that he was immediately made a mentor. Khayyam's years of teaching, which followed the years of his education, were full of disasters and wanderings, and did not bring him either material security or sufficient time for scientific studies. In those days, scientists could regularly engage in science only at the court of the ruler, holding the positions of secretary, poet, doctor, or astrologer, which made their fate dependent on the mercy, disposition, and whims of the ruler, as well as court intrigues. But the most severe scourge of this era was the cruel wars that led to the devastation of entire cities and countries. The hardships that Khayyam had to endure were undoubtedly aggravated by the fact that his youth coincided with the first years of the Seljuk conquest. Later in the preface to his algebra, Khayyam would write bitter words. "We have witnessed the death of scientists, of whom only a small, long-suffering group of people remain. The severity of fate in these times prevents them from devoting themselves entirely to the improvement and deepening of their science. The majority of those who currently have the appearance of scientists dress the truth in lies, not going beyond the limits of counterfeiting and hypocrisy in science. And if they meet a person who is distinguished by the fact that he seeks the truth and loves the truth, tries to reject lies and hypocrisy, and refuse bragging and deception, they make him the object of their contempt and ridicule." Like other major scientists of that time, Omar did not stay long in any one city. After only 4 years, he left Samarkand and moved to Bukhara, where he began working in the book depositories. During the 10 years that the scientist lived in Bukhara, he wrote 4 fundamental treatises on mathematics. In 1074, he was invited to Isfahan, the center of the Seljuk state, to the court of the Seljuk Sultan Malik Shah II. On the initiative and under the patronage of the Shah's chief vizier Nizam al-Mulk, Omar became the Sultan's spiritual mentor. 2 years later, Malik Shah appointed him head of the Palace Observatory, one of the largest in the world. While working in this position, Omar Khayyam not only continued his studies in mathematics, but also became a famous astronomer. With a group of scientists, he developed a solar calendar that was more accurate than the Gregorian one. He compiled the Malik Shah astronomical tables, which included a small star catalog. Here, he also wrote comments on the difficulties in the introductions to Euclid's book, 1077, in 3 books. In the second and third books, he examined the theory of relations and the doctrine of number. However, in 1092, with the death of his patron Sultan Malik Shah and Vizier Nizam al-Mulk, the Isfahan period of his life ended. The years of the reign of Malik Shah's widow, Turkin Khatun, and his successor, Sultan Sanjar, were difficult for Khayyam. The poet was forced to leave the Seljuk capital. The last hours of Khayyam's life are known from the words of his younger contemporary, Bayhaqi, who refers to the words of the poet's son-in-law. One day, while reading Abu Ali ibn Sina's Book of Healing, Khayyam felt the approach of death. He was already over 80 at the time. He stopped reading at a section devoted to a difficult metaphysical question entitled The One and the Many, placed a gold toothpick he was holding in his hand between the pages, and closed the volume. Then he called his relatives and disciples, made a will, and after that no longer took any food or drink. Having performed the prayer before going to bed, he bowed to the ground and kneeling said, "God, to the best of my ability I have tried to know you. Forgive me. Since I have known you, I have come closer to you." With these words on his lips, Khayyam died.